Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to this special as we look ahead to the big final of the T20 World Cup 2021. Who will be crowned the world champions of T20 cricket? I'm here with Nikhil Narayan. There is one dark horse who we always call as the perennial dark horses of the tournament, that is New Zealand. But please, I think there's a request from both of us here that I think it's time people stop calling them the dark horses, because they really play well in ICC tournaments, and we've seen that they are already the ICC World Test Champions and now they are in the final of the T20 World Cup. Opposite them will be a side that has done really well in ICC tournaments. But coming into this World Cup, their form wasn't this good. And I can tell you that not many would have predicted that it was going to be a New Zealand versus Australia final, Nikhil. But in the end of it, just the way they played the two semi-finals, absolute thrillers. I think both these teams deserve to be in the finals.
Absolutely. I mean, the two semi-finals are very similar.
Yeah.
The England and Pakistan dominated for 80%, but when it mattered the most, these two teams produced those cameos, produced those magical moments, and in the last 4 overs, blasted their way through the final. Two unlikely finalists, but two finalists who have a great history, the Trans-Tasman rivalry, and therefore this promises to be an absolute, ripper of a contest.
On top of that, Nikhil, like we said, these two teams beat the favourites in their group. The top performers, the best performers in their group, and then came into the final. So deserved finalists. On top of that, some of those players who become heroes now after those two semi-finals, I think they deserved this. This was needed for the two teams. But how much will dew be a factor? We've seen this in this tournament from the beginning, and yet again today, I feel like the dew is going to decide who the winner is going to be.
Absolutely. I mean, in Dubai, only one match has been won by the team batting first. So chasing is a huge, huge advantage, Meha. Also, in ICC knockout matches since 2014, the team chasing has won, the last 7 matches. It's 7-0. So it is just, it's a skew which is just unbelievable, and therefore the dew factor, even if there is dew only for the last 5 overs, the last 5 overs can change the match, as we saw in the two semi-finals. It's massive, the dew factor.
And it's not just us saying it, even the captains, players have been talking about the dew and how toss becomes such a huge factor. Let's listen in to Aaron Finch, the Australian captain, on what he thinks about the whole toss advantage. Listen in.
I think at some point, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I think if you're batting first, at some point in the tournament, you're going to have to win a game batting first. So obviously the trend of the tournament and the trend of the IPL leading into this was that chasing was the way to go. But yeah, I'm not too fussed what we have to do first tomorrow. I think in the last game, I was hoping to lose the toss actually, because I would have batted first. Well, no, I wouldn't have minded batting first, but the fact that I won the toss, we're always going to bowl. But it's just one of those things. I think if you can put a decent enough score on the board, then you're going to put a lot of pressure on the opposition, even chasing.
Yeah. I think he can say this now when he's sitting after that win in the semi-finals. I don't think he would have wanted to lose the toss. Shubhayan Chakravarti also joins us from Dubai. Shubhayan, this is going to be so crucial. Toss, we've seen this in the tournament. And even as Aaron Finch talked about how the team batting first at some point will win the tournament, the bottom line is that the 5 matches that Australia won in the group stages were won when they won the toss and they were chasing, and the only one that they lost was that terrible loss to England where they batted first.
Absolutely, and even if the dew isn't there in that amount, I think it will be the psychological factor. Psychologically, the players will have something in their mind, because it's a big pressure finale. Both the teams have never won the T20 World Cup, and suddenly if you are asked to, bat first and set a target, and given the fact that you has played such a massive role, it will definitely play a role psychologically, if not physically on the ground that much.
Also then, there is a clear difference, Nikhil, psychologically or not, even in the way the Pacers have performed in this tournament. You see Pacers in the first innings and second innings in Dubai, clear difference. 38 overs in the first innings, 17 wickets at a good economy of 5.79. That's the first innings record. And then 33 overs with just 4 wickets and at an economy of 9.64. That's the kind of difference we're talking about in 2 innings in Dubai.
Absolutely. And this just shows that, dew has played a part. I mean, it cannot just be other factors. It cannot be the lights, because lights are there throughout in the night game. Dew has to be a player. Dew has played a significant part, and therefore the Pacers, who bowl second, have such a record.
Let's talk about the head-to-heads then, Nikhil, for the two teams. One thing being that Australia, I mean, nobody would have predicted them in the finals. Maybe in the semi-finals, that's one thing, but to have them in the finals, especially because of the way they performed coming into this tournament, having been thrashed by West Indies, Bangladesh, India beat them in the Test series, morale low, Justin Langer's coaching methods being questioned. This is tremendous for Aaron Finch and his team.
Absolutely, Maya. Australia had the second lowest win-loss ratio in T20I cricket, only just ahead of Sri Lanka in the last 1 year coming into this tournament. But a lot of people don't know that they were the #1 ranked T20I team in the year preceding that. They had won 4 series in a row. There was a resurgence, including beating India in India. So from #1, they plummeted really low down, and then they were the second worst. And then, they have done what they've done in this T20 World Cup. So overall head-to-head, Australia leads New Zealand 9-5. But the most significant, stat is that in ICC tournaments, it's 15-4 to Australia. That is completely one-sided. Then in ICC knockout, this is ICC knockout, it's 4-0 Australia. Then in all knockouts, which is quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals of all series, you play a lot of bilateral series, etc. In that, is it 16-0 Australia? I mean, what on earth is happening?
When you're put under pressure, what this means, Shubhayan, is that when you're put under pressure in a knockout situation, it is Australia who are victorious. And once again, I don't know why you get that sense from the attitude that this Australian team has and has had in the past as well, Shubhayan, that somehow, given it's a knockout match, Australia go in as favourites.
Absolutely, and that is why they have dominated World Cup events across 5 decades, and they have won everything that has come under their way. When they were at the peak during the 2000s, they won everything, and that pressure thing, the capability of soaking in the pressure that has come through all the players that have proceeded through the ranks, be it Aaron Finch at that time, be it Michael Clarke at that time, be it David Warner, who was brought into the Australian team without playing even a single first-class game, and look at where David Warner is now. So these all are big players. These all have that mental astuteness of performing in big stages, and that is why Australia are going into this match as slight favourites, not heavy favourites, mind you, because New Zealand are a very capable side, but slight favourites due to this factor of soaking in the pressure on big stages.
Yeah, but hey, if there was one person who soaked in all the pressure, it was Daryl Mitchell, and actually 2 of them, and Jimmy Neesham for New Zealand as well. So don't take New Zealand lightly. And one of the things I think we need to keep saying is that New Zealand are a very good side, though the injury, the unfortunate injury to Devon Conway, how much of a difference would that make, given that he was really, after Kane Williamson, their best player of spin?
Correct. Also, he's been their Mr. Consistent. He provides that, solidity in the middle order. Also, his record in all 3 formats. He's just started his career, his international career. But his record is phenomenal, Maya, in all 3 formats. In the last series between Australia and New Zealand, he had scored some 190 odd runs in the 5 matches. So he is that consistent player in the middle order who they will miss.
They will. In fact, this is what Kane Williamson had to say when asked about who will replace Devon Conway. Listen in.
There's been, there is a good sort of mix of sort of youth and experience, and you know, some of these younger players that keep coming through, I think, in all teams that love to hit the ball out of the park and are, you know, really exciting talents. And someone like Tim Seifert coming in, you know, very much is that. And you know, obviously the loss of Devon is a big one. You know, he's been a big part of all formats for us, and you know, a disappointing, you know, and really freak thing to happen. But you know, for us, it's keeping our focus on the task, and all the players are, you know, really excited at the opportunity tomorrow and to go out and like I say, try and improve, adjust to what will be new tomorrow as well, which is a different opposition at a different venue.
Also, what will be interesting, Nikhil, is the battle of spinners from both sides. We've seen how spinners have dominated in the UAE, but just to see how Ish Sodhi and Mitchell Santner sort of stack up against the Australian batsmen, it'll be interesting because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at how Australia have played in this tournament, other than David Warner, everybody else has struggled against spin.
Absolutely. I think Ish Sodhi is crucial for New Zealand, how he bowls in those middle overs. He has been, you know, New Zealand's top bowler in this tournament. What he does is, more than restricting the opposition, he picks crucial wickets and he picks them early. I think he has picked a wicket in his first over or second over in every match in this tournament. So you know, that shows his wicket-taking propensity. So Santner plus Ish Sodhi, and that side we have Zampa, Maxwell. I don't think Ashton Agar will play. I think Zampa has been, for me, the highest impact bowler of the tournament, forget spinner of the tournament. And I think he's been marginally better than his counterpart from New Zealand, that is Ish Sodhi. Zampa has not only picked more wickets, the main difference has been that he's been more restrictive. His control is better than Ish Sodhi in the middle overs.
But it'll come down to big match players in a knockout situation like this. And we know, Shubhayan, that when David Warner is in a knockout match, what he can do. We saw that even in the semi-final. How crucial will his role be, given that this is the big final? He's got a point to prove to the world. You can't leave me out. I'm not out of form. And as he's been telling you, or I think you told him in the press conference that he's not out of form, but short on runs.
Absolutely, and received a cheeky thank you from him after that question. But you know, David Warner has been their go-to man whenever they find themselves in big match situations or under pressure. We have seen how he has performed in this tournament. He is their highest run scorer in this T20 World Cup, and the onus will be on him. The onus will be on Steve Smith. The onus will be on Aaron Finch. You know, these big players who have a bundle of experience under their belt to come good in this match. And David Warner, of course, if he can survive that initial spell by Tim Southee or Trent Bolt, then we can witness another big score by David Warner.
That's right. We can talk strategy all day, Nikhil, but we've got to take a moment and just talk about the warriors from both sides and how they've played. And I think it was Shubhayan in one of the shows where he talked about Matthew Wade, who's overcome cancer, is colorblind. You know, Jimmy Neesham at one point wanted to quit the game, said nobody should be taking up cricket at one point. But how sport is a leveler. And you see that Daryl Mitchell, for that matter, thought he was playing the last game, you know, for New Zealand. But look at how he has come back. And I think we've a little bit about what this means, not just to these players, fans watching, but to the sport as well.
Absolutely, Meha. You know, all these fascinating stories of these individuals, you know, show character. It shows what they've experienced in their real life, and that's what builds a person for life. And of course, you know, those qualities will be showcased when they bat or bowl or field. I mean, these are life-changing experiences they have had, and it makes them really tough mentally, physically, and then from any situation, any adverse situation, they think they can, you know, come out of it. That's what Wade showed, that's what Neesham showed, Mitchell showed, and that's what life is all about.
Yeah, and that's what Marcus Stoinis showed. And Shubhayan, we know that the job of the role of a finisher is the most difficult in T20 cricket. And in these crucial times when, you know, you felt like you're probably going to lose, for you to stand up and be a hero for your team and soak in the pressure. It's incredible what these gentlemen have done.
Absolutely, beat Matthew Wade, beat Marcus Stoinis, beat James Nisha for New Zealand. I think they have. This is a very niche and very difficult, one of the most difficult roles in this format of the game. You come into the with the 10-15 deliveries remaining in an innings, and you just have to smash 30-40 runs out of them. That is why the likes of Andre Russell, the likes of Wayne Bravo have been celebrated for so long in T20 cricket because of their ability to hit, big sixes and those rush moments. And mind you, at that time, the bowlers also looking to nail those Yorkers. So it is a very difficult role, one of the most toughest roles in world cricket at the moment. And hats off to James Neesham, Matthew Wade, Marcus Stoinis, the way they have batted in this tournament so far, and Glenn Phillips as well.
Yeah, that's right. But it'll come down to the power plays, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen this in Dubai, Nikhil. For the team batting first, we can keep saying it that, you've got to fire, be it David Warner, be it Daryl Mitchell from New Zealand. I mean, these guys will need to get a good start because we know what happened even with Pakistan in the semi-final against Australia, against New Zealand.
Yeah. You're right, Maya. I think for the team batting first especially, the power play becomes extremely crucial because they cannot go at 6.5, 7. They need to score 8 to 9 because they need that cushion of extra 20 runs, and it's easier to get them in the power play. Middle overs won't be easy against the spinners. So you get them in the power play because you will need that score of 170, 180 as we have seen in the two semi-finals.
Let's also talk about the key battles then. I think one big battle would be keeping in mind how important power plays is, that if Australia do end up batting first, it'll come down to David Warner versus Trent Boult. Shubhayan?
More than David Warner versus Trent Boult, it will be Aaron Finch versus Trent Boult because Aaron Finch just can't play those incoming deliveries. But yes, of course. But of course, David Warner, if New Zealand bowlers can get him out early, then they are in for some good bowling performance because David Warner has been the glue of that batting unit. And if he can get going, if he can survive those initial overs and can perform, can play a long innings, then Australia would be eyeing a target of 170, 180 or even more.
Aaron Finch and Kane Williamson, though, Nikhil, both have struggled somewhat in the tournament. Kane Williamson, some 131 runs in the matches that he's played. Aaron Finch being an opener, striking at 119. How important would this be for them?
Very important. I think one of the battles I'm looking forward to, Meha, is between Zampa and Williamson. That would be the battle of the middle overs. In all T20 cricket, Williamson hasn't dominated Zampa. 37 runs in 38 balls. He's been dismissed twice. He's been very circumspect against him. Overall, also, Williamson, his strike rate against leg spinners is almost a runner ball. He doesn't dominate leg spin. So it's going to be interesting, especially if New Zealand is batting first, whether Williamson will take a chance against Zampa, because Zampa's economy rate is 5.5. I mean, that cannot be allowed. New Zealand will have a problem because if they bat first, they need to put up a decent total.
And that's not it for Australia. And I think for both teams, Shubhayan, in the matches that they've played, it'll also come down to the death bowling, especially for the team that is bowling second, isn't that so? We've seen bowlers struggle, we've seen bowlers miss their lengths, and I think that's where it'll be important for bowlers, for the pacers from both sides, whoever's bowling second, to make sure they hit those, back of a length. Don't go in for Yorkers, because that's something we've seen. Every time a bowler's tried to go in for Yorkers, they missed it, and you see what happened next.
Absolutely. As we speak, Shane Watson and Sam Curran are just standing right in front of me and discussing who are going to win today. So these kind of things. But yes, talking about the matchup cards. This I have written it in my preview as well. This match promises to be the most superior battle of matchup games because of the play, the tactical style of both the captains, and you are absolutely right. When it comes to the outcome of the game, it will be decided how Kane Williamson, how Aaron Finch, because these batters have struggled in this tournament so far.
You know what? I'm going to let you be the fly on the wall. I'm going to let you be the fly on the wall, Shubhayan. You come back to us and tell us what are they saying about who's going to win. It'll be interesting to know. But other key battles, Nikhil, that you're looking forward to?
There are a number of key battles. One is Sodhi versus Glenn Maxwell. Now, Maxwell, how good he was, Mia. He was stunning for RCB in the IPL.
Yeah.
But look at his number. He's not done anything in this tournament. It's shocking. He's failed miserably in this tournament. Against Sodhi, he has a middling record. 48 runs, 36 balls, 2 wickets in all T20 cricket. But I am expecting Maxwell to produce a special innings today and go after Sodhi. Disrupt. Maxwell knows how to disrupt, and he can disrupt. So it's going to be very interesting, the Sodhi versus Maxwell battle in the middle overs.
I'm looking forward to Kane Williamson versus Glenn Maxwell. He's not been able to bat against him, has dismissed him twice, has just scored some 10 runs in the 3-4 innings that he's played against him. So that's another one, because I think it'll come down to how the teams manage their middle overs, be it Australia or New Zealand, and that's where spinners have been so crucial.
Absolutely. The team which dominates the spinners of the other team in the middle overs may eventually win this match.
Well, so yes, that is the big final that we've been discussing. Shubhayan, just a last reaction from you. Have you got anything from them, or?
Shane Watson has walked into the commentary box, and Sam Curran has gone to the VIP lounge. And they said they will catch up later. That's the only thing I can give away at the moment.
Okay, so yes, I think they're getting ready, but I don't think Shane Watson would say that it's not going to be Australia. He would say that it is Australia who will win. It would have been interesting, though, just to understand their psyche. But I think we're completely out of time. Thank you so much, Nikhil and Shubhayan, for joining us. As we leave you with this press conference bite from Aaron Finch. Listen into what he has to say about the encounter itself. What does he think? How will it play out? Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
I think both teams have got a great history in cricket, but not just cricket, but as neighbours, so to speak, down under. It's a great relationship. We play quite a bit against New Zealand now, and we always have great battles regardless of the format. And yeah, it's bloody exciting to be playing against New Zealand. They're a great team and led super by Kane Williamson. So it's just one of those things that both teams seem to have found their way into each other's path along the way in some tournaments. So yeah, it's really exciting.